After a 3-month winter hiatus, the Subaru National Road Series kicks back into action as the best female cyclists in Australia head to Victoria's northeast for the Sam Miranda Tour of the King Valley. The situation in the overall series standing sees Ruth Corset from Total Rush Heister in a commanding lead on 37 points, 12 ahead of Lucy Caldwell and 15 in front of both Valentina Scandalara from Orica AIS and Tessa Fabry from Subaru Hi-Fi Dream Team. Although leading the series, Corset is yet to win a race, and emerging talents such as Anna-Leeza Hull, Georgia Baker and former middle distance runner Lucy Kennedy are starting to snap at her heels. The Dalzotto winery is a perfect setting for the Stage 1 time trial. This region, known as Little Italy, is a wine lover's haven, and Dalzotto is rated as one of the finest. Visitors are engaged with wine tastings, plenty of family anecdotes, and even a game of bocce, with a glass of Prosecco in hand. The opening stage of the Sam Miranda Tour of the King Valley is a 9-kilometre time trial starting and finishing here in the town of Whitfield. Fairly straightforward. Technical start, but then they get out onto the main road and it's just straight out, flat road, U-turn and straight back into the finish. So you can expect the powerful time trial riders like Bridie O'Donnell and Rebecca Wysack to excel on a course like this.
I hope I am the favourite. Then I can disappoint everyone when all those fast girls beat me. Look, 9K is a tricky distance because the women that are great prologue riders and pursuiters like Beck Wysack and Ashan Kudnoff, great track rider, they're going to perform very well, and they performed very well last year when it was 21K.
Third rider to start today was Anna-Leeza Hull. She's only a young rider, but she was going to be very strong on course.
The course was relatively flat. It had a few lumps in it, and I knew that going out was probably going to be the toughest because everyone wants to hold back the way back, but because it was such a short one, I knew that I'm always strongest on the way back, so I had to give it my all.
She looked really strong out on the course, out to the turnaround and then just motored all the way back into the finish to post the best time at 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Well, another early starter that really did surprise everyone was Kate Perry. When she got to the finish, she was 22 seconds behind Anna-Leeza Hull and had a really long, nervous wait to see if she would hold on to that second place. Anna-Leeza Hull's time was looking really solid as Bridie O'Donnell came to the line. She was 22 seconds back in third place, but only 0.3 of a second behind Kate Perry. Tessa Fabry was looking pretty solid out on course, and before the winter hiatus in the Subaru National Road Series, she did win the last round of the series. But as she came down towards the finish, she hit the tape with 13.43, and that was 28 seconds back behind Anna-Leeza Hull in fourth place. Probably the favourite for the time trial was last year's time trial champion, and she won the tour last year overall as well, and that was Rebecca Wysack from the Subaru Hi-Fi Dream Team. Ruth Corset, the overall series leader, often punches above her weight in the time trials, but it was a real surprise to see her really struggling out on the course today. When she came to the finish, it was only 10th best, in a time of 13.52. The only rider that was still left out on the course with the credentials to come away with the stage win was Rebecca Wysack. She's been a part of the Australian Team Pursuit program under heavy training, and it was looking as if she was labouring a little bit out on the course. And as Wysack hit the finish line, it was 13 minutes and 46 seconds, and that was 31 seconds slower than the young gun Anna-Leeza Hull. It was an impressive ride by the 18-year-old Anna-Leeza Hull from Subaru NSWIS to win the opening time trial ahead of Total Rush Heister teammates Kate Perry and Bridie O'Donnell.
I knew I rode a really good race. It felt strong, and I knew that I had to go as hard as I could up the hill, so that's where I was going to have the biggest advantage. And the last 15-minute wait, knowing in the last few riders coming in, was so tense. So I knew I raced well, and I just wanted to hold it off on the win. So yeah, so happy.
Hull now takes a 22-second lead into the next stage, a 39-kilometre criterium in Wangaratta. Stage 2 comes to the heart of Wangaratta in northeast Victoria, and situated right on the course is Cafe d'Aurelia, the quirky former railway cafe built in 1947 to service the growing demand for rail passengers in post-war. It has been given a new life and will be a great vantage point to have a bite and watch the race. Stage 2 is a 39-kilometre criterium right here in the heart of Wangaratta. It's over 30 laps and there are 10 intermediate bonus sprints, which is going to be very interesting for the overall situation. The course itself, fairly wide and open down the straights, but there are several pinch points and some tight corners. They could be quite tricky. In the overall situation, we see young gun Anna-Leeza Hull with the 22-second lead over both Kate Perry and Bridie O'Donnell. But I would expect someone like Rebecca Wysack with her track power to really feature on a course like this.
We're expecting a super aggressive race this afternoon in the criterium. There's time bonuses up for grabs every 3 laps and on the finish line. We had 4 of our High Five Dream Team riders, I think places 4, 5, 6, 7, so we're pretty close. So we're expecting first wheel into the corner potentially to win this with the finish line so close there, and I know that we've got a really strong team for a lead out there and any number of options with 5 of us pretty high up on GC.
70 riders signed on for the criterium over 39 kilometres, and they were quickly up to speed, fighting for position. And the opening lap, Sophie Williamson from Holden Women's Racing Team touched down. Subaru High Five Dream Team were really trying to set their rider up, Georgia Baker. She was the best placed in the first stage time trial, and they were gunning for those intermediate time bonus points for her.
I think it was pretty aggressive to start off with, and the aim for us was to try and, the intermediate sprints were keeping it up because there was time bonuses and things, so we wanted to gain a few positions on GC as well, so we're going for them.
As the race wore on and the frantic pace started to take its toll, the peloton was starting to whittle down. The spectators on Shimano Corner were certainly enjoying the world-class action. Specialised Securitor were really aggressive throughout the stage, and they were constantly on the attack with Veretta Stewart. Also Michaela Parsons was very aggressive from Specialised, and going for the intermediate sprint, Sophie Mackey picked up 2 of them.
We rode towards the front most of the race. There were some Bicycle Superstore girls up there as well, but also Holden, High Five, Georgia Baker, she was up there. Bridie O'Donnell, of course, as well, trying to protect Ruth, and it was very, very aggressive racing.
It appeared the race leader, Anna-Leeza Hull, was fairly isolated and was sitting in the middle of the bunch. She does seem to struggle a little bit with finding good position. Holden Women's Cycling Team are void of a sprinter in this year's tour, so they were also very aggressive, trying to get a breakaway to move. With so many of the riders, especially the Subaru High Five Dream Team, going for the intermediate sprints, it kept the peloton speed so high that no attacks could really get away. As the peloton approached the final turn, there was a fair bit of push and shove to get into the right position, and one of the riders crashed out, which was unfortunate for her, but for Georgia Baker, she came around the outside of everybody and powered across the line to pick up what was to be a very emotional win for the young Tasmanian.
The lead out with Tessa on the front and then Kendall, then myself, and it was just awesome. It worked out perfectly. So, I've had a few last month. It's been pretty tough with the loss of my dad, and so it's pretty much just so good to win, and I know how proud he'll be. So.
After what has been a really trying year for Georgia Baker, it was fantastic to see her go out the stage winner ahead of Raquel Heath and Kendall Hodges. The other big rivalry in the King Valley is between Sam Miranda and Brown Brothers Wines. So the challenge was put down and they put it to the bike in a relay event shortly before the criterium started. And in the end, it was a resounding victory. The score was settled. Sam Miranda came out on top. Competing in elite sport is challenging all on its own, but try combining racing in the Subaru National Road Series while working as a doctor. Rebecca Heath somehow seems to manage.
I came over a couple of years ago. The Australian emergency medicine program is fantastic and very different to the UK. Like anyone that works full-time and tries to race, I struggle. Goes in fits and spurts. Currently I'm working in intensive care. It's tough to train around, really tough. The shifts are pretty long, so 12.5 hours. My coach is very flexible, so my training has to constantly change when I'm flipping on and off of night shifts.
I have no idea how she can ride as well as she does, being out in Alice and working the hours she does.
We already have our plan.
It's so good having Bex on the team. She's so chilled and funny and relaxed. And really experienced at riding and just in life in general. So, yeah, she's an asset to our team.
Now you're based for the second time, is it, back out in Alice Springs? So not just from the UK to Australia, but then also out to the outback.
Yes, it's the middle of nowhere, proper desert, and we are the only hospital for a really long way. So we get a lot of patients flown in that are incredibly sick. It's very challenging medically. 78% of our patients are Indigenous.
Yeah, it's good having a doctor. We actually have a lot of skills in the team, so we call on everyone. So yeah, a doctor's great.
I've got cold hands, I'm sorry. Oh, I think I'm pretty much on call 24/7 for the girls. They know they can always ask me anything. So from gluing and cuts together and cleaning general grazes, as well as the usual saddle sores and other medical problems, I'm pretty much always there for them, which they know.
So you're good at gluing tyres on and gluing sores together.
Absolutely.
She's an inspiration to all of us, and if she can come out here and race as well as she can, then yeah, we can do that too.
Sam Miranda is a third generation of a prominent winemaking family who moved from Italy to Australia in the 1930s. King Valley has a reputation as an exceptional region for producing wines of high quality, and it is home to passionate winemakers with fresh ideas. Sam Miranda is also renowned for their Italian varieties, especially the Prosecco. Stage 3 of the Sam Miranda Tour of the King Valley, and it's a 111-kilometre road stage. This is the big one. This is the one they've all been talking about and they're all nervous about because it includes the Strada Nero, the dirt roads which feature in the Queen of the Mountain climbs. Now for this year, it's the first time they've added extra dirt on the run into the finish, so it's going to be carnage out there and it's going to be something very, very interesting to watch. And look out for a very inspired Georgia Baker. After her performance in Stage 2's Criterium, she's now running 4 seconds off Anna-Leeza Hull's lead, and I think that whole team, the High Five Dream Team, is really going to be on the march today.
Well, Stage 3 is going to be pretty interesting. They've taken dirt section 3 and 4 out now, so it's reduced down to 100k, which really puts the pressure on that 5k dirt climb. That's going to be the KOM.
It was a fairly sedate rollout by the peloton until they got towards the 18-kilometre and first time bonus sprint. That was taken out by Georgia Baker from the Subaru High Five Dream Team, and it gave her enough time bonuses to initially take over the overall lead. Not long after the first intermediate sprint, the Subaru N-Swiss rider Holly Simons went off the front on her own. As she approached the first sector of dirt road, the gap appeared to be closing down.
First section of the dirt, yeah, it was a little bit rough on the right, so we all wanted the middle. It sort of thinned out a little bit, and you just had to drive pretty hard to get back onto the front group.
Simons was caught on that dirt road section, and then shortly after, when they got back onto the tarmac, a very strong group of 7 riders went away, including Tessa Fabry and the strong Queenslander new to cycling coming from athletics, Lucy Kennedy.
Saw a little break go. I saw a few people and Tessa Fabry was in there, and I thought, that one might stick. So kind of jumped across to that because my plan for the day was to go after the Queen of the Mountain points.
When the lead group came onto the first Queen of the Mountain, and the Queenslander Lucy Kennedy powered away from Fabry, just showing how much physiology she really does have. Not long after the first Queen of the Mountain climb, a group out in front became 4 riders strong, and they went on to the next dirt road section shortly before the second Queen of the Mountains and the Strada Nero section of climb. At the 53-kilometre mark, they reached the top of the second Queen of the Mountain climb, and it was Kennedy picking up the second sprint of the day for her. But in second position was Anna-Leeza Hull, and that gave her enough time bonuses to get back into the overall race lead. After a short, sharp, fast descent, they reached Whitfield and the next intermediate sprint, and again Anna-Leeza Hull came across first, picking up another 5-second bonus. Now back down onto the flat roads of the King Valley with 38 kilometres to go. There was a regrouping, and once again we had a mass peloton.
Once it come back together, we were pretty active. We just kept going, like attacking Jess, Beck, Carly. We just kept going, sharing the load, and eventually one of us were going to snap away, and it just so happened to be me, 26k. The first time I got was 26 seconds, and I thought, oh yeah, And next time I got was 54 seconds, and I thought, okay, I can start believing in myself now. Blew out to about 1:16, I think.
The tour leader, Anna-Leeza Hull, was registered as an individual rider, so she had no team support to try and chase down Keneally, and then the pressure went onto the Subaru High Five team as everyone expected them to chase the gap back.
Matt, our manager, he was really encouraging. He's just like, come on, you've got to keep going. So I held it just above threshold, and it hurt, but man, it's worth it.
As the peloton didn't chase down the solo leader, and Keneally came around the final turn to an impressive first National Road Series stage victory for her, and only 32 seconds down in the overall classification before the start, she had enough of an advantage at the finish to be the new race leader.
My first NRS was last year, so yeah, I was really stoked to come back to this. I've been training pretty hard, so it means a lot, yeah.
A fantastic maiden victory in the Subaru National Road Series to Warmold's Erin Keneally, ahead of Subaru High Five Dream Team rider Georgia Baker and the Queensland Academy of Sport rider Emily Roper. Keneally now leads the overall classification by 8 seconds to both Georgia Baker and Anna-Leeza Hull. Stage 4 of the Sam Miranda Tour of the King Valley runs through the gourmet region in Victoria's famed King Valley. The Millua Cheese Company was established in the historic Millua Butter Factory in 1988 by owners David and Anne Brown. They set out to make delicious Australian farmhouse cheese inspired by European methods. All the cheeses are still lovingly handmade by head cheesemaker Stephen Russell and his team. All cheeses are preservative-free and made with non-animal renethere on site. Well, it's going to be a fantastic final stage here at the Sam Miranda Tour of the King Valley. It's over 88 kilometres, a road stage. There are 2 intermediate sprints and 2 Queen of the Mountain climbs. Now, there are bonus seconds up for grabs in all of those. It's 5 for the win, 3, 2 and 1. So with Erin Keneally only leading by 8 seconds to both Anna-Leeza Hull and Georgia Baker, and all those bonus seconds up for grabs, there's going to be fireworks out on the road.
Obviously, we would love to take the overall lead and win the whole tour, so we're aiming to get all the time bonuses and get all them up, so that's our main goal today, is obviously come out with a stage win would be great as well.
Well, after a flurry of attacks in the first 15 kilometres, they then made their way into Glenrowan, where the first intermediate sprint was.
Yeah, coming up to the first sprint, I had all my teammates helping out to make sure I really needed those points to get those 8 seconds up on Erin, and so I took out the first sprint.
And that closed down the gap to the overall leader of Erin Keneally to only 3 seconds. Shortly after that first intermediate, we saw what was a horrific scene on the road, a mass pile-up.
Just in front of me, there was just this pile of girls, nowhere to go. I just sort of lost as much speed and went into ragdoll mode, and yeah, landed on the pile as well.
Unfortunately for the overall series leader, Ruth Corset, she was involved in the crash and looked to be in a lot of difficulty and a lot of pain. Also, Tessa Fabry was involved, had to withdraw from the race. Sam Miranda, so 2 of the High Five Dream Team riders were out of the race after that crash. And the young Subaru N-Swiss rider, Holly Simons, was also seriously injured.
We all just had to keep relaxed, and I just told myself it was going to be okay. Took an opportunity to take a drink and a gel, and like most people would have done that. And then it was just finding my rhythm, getting back in that bunch and doing the best I could to just keep relaxed.
The group got back into action pretty quickly, and at 37 kilometres they had the second of the 2 intermediate sprints, and it was once again Georgia Baker picking up the 5 seconds on offer, and that made her equal on the overall classification with Erin Keneally. At kilometre 40, they hit the first of the 2 Queen of the Mountain climbs on the day, and third place in the overall classification, Anna-Leeza Hull, immediately went on the attack, dragging Lucy Kennedy, Lucy Betchell and Kate Perry with her.
And so yeah, we went in first 4 wheels up the climb, and I was like, oh, these are the climbers. This is where I'm meant to be, good.
Picking up the points at the top of the climb, clearly out in front, was Lucy Kennedy. Anna-Leeza Hull, in second place, needing those time bonuses for the overall classification, was second over the top of the climb, and the gap back to the main field was 1 minute.
be out there pretty much for the second half of the race with some of the best climbers. You know, the pressure was on to be able to stay on those wheels.
As the leaders reached the summit at 69 kilometres of the second Queen of the Mountain climb was once again Lucy Kennedy picking up the points ahead of Anna-Leeza Hull.
I knew that I had gotten enough time bonuses to secure myself and just hopefully hold it off to the finish.
As the leaders approached 10 kilometres to go, the gap was down to 49 seconds as the main peloton were hunting them down.
They were coming for us like a big storm, yeah.
It was up to us in the pink jersey to work and hopefully bring that back for us to have a chance.
At 1k to go, we got told 13 seconds and I was just trying to push as hard as we could, and I knew that every second was going to count.
I had nothing to lose, so I just shot out with 1k to go.
As they approached the left-hand turn into the Sam Miranda winery, Lucy Betchell hit out early to try and get the stage honours, and she came around that final corner and held on for a fantastic stage win just ahead of Anna-Leeza Hull. The bonus seconds for Hull gave her the overall race victory.
As I came into the last corner, I just was like, don't crash, don't stuff this up. And then I had a moment to think, do I have enough stability to put my hands up like all the pros do?
Yeah, I'm so happy. I mean, I committed everything out there today and it was all or nothing, and I'm just so excited to have finally pulled it off and got the win, even though it was only a couple of seconds.
Shortly after the jubilation of Anna-Leeza Hull's victory, a protest was lodged by the Subaru High Five Dream Team. The accusation was one of collusion. After the judges deliberated, a decision was made to penalise Hull 30 seconds, which now awarded Georgia Baker the overall victory.
Yeah, look, I am happy obviously to take the win of King Valley Tour, but probably not in these circumstances. Yeah, obviously, but I am really proud of my teammates and how they worked today.
Hull was inconsolable and declined to be interviewed, but no doubt the 18-year-old super talent has a big future ahead of her. It was a great victory in the final stage to Lucy Betchell from Bicycle Superstore ahead of Anna-Leeza Hull and Georgia Baker from the Subaru High Five Dream Team. In only her second Subaru National Road Series event, Lucy Kennedy from Queensland took out the Queen of the Mountains competition. Tasmanian Georgia Baker from the Subaru High Five Dream Team took out the sprint competition. Obviously disappointed to not come away as the Tour winner, but Anna-Leeza Hull did claim the under-21 classification. In the team's classification, it was a great victory to Specialised Securitor. Coming away as the winner of the Sam Miranda Tour of the King Valley was Georgia Baker from the Subaru High Five Development Team, ahead of Erin Keneally from Warmold and Anna-Leeza Hull as an independent rider in third. The Subaru National Road Series overall leaders jersey stays on the shoulders of Ruth Corset, but due to the crash and having to head to hospital on that final stage, was unable to collect the jersey. Next up in the Subaru National Road Series, the women head to the Amy Gillett Otway Challenge in Victoria, and the men head to the National Capital Tour in Canberra.